Hello and welcome to another video from War Secrets. Winston Churchill once said, "Not to have an adequate air force in the present state of the world is to compromise the foundations of national freedom and independence." The United States Air Force, one of the major components of the United States Armed Forces with primary responsibility for air warfare, air defense, and the development of military space research. The Air Force also provides air services in coordination with the other military branches. The United States Air Force has in the past proved its mettle around the world with its best aircraft technology, introducing legendary fighters like F-15 Eagle, F-15E Strike Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, F-22 Raptor, and many more. In this video, we are going to discuss a US Air Force's pride, the Lockheed P-38 Lightning. Watch the whole video to know all about the Lockheed P-38 Lightning. Just before we start, quickly subscribe to our channel and press that bell icon to never miss any videos from our channel. Now let's get started. Originally conceived as a high-altitude interceptor to meet a 1937 Army Air Corps requirements, Lockheed's Model 22, designated P-38 Lightning, was to become one of the most successful fighters of World War II. The P-38 was the only type flown by the top two American aces of war, Major Richard Bong and Major Thomas McQuarrie Jr. Its famous mission was to shut down the Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto's transport in 1943. The Lightning was the only American fighter type to remain in production for the entire duration of the war. History. The P-38 Lightning by Lockheed might be one of the most impressive aircraft in the world of aviation. With its unconventional twin tail, it was most commonly used during the Pacific War. The twin Allison engines with 1,600 horsepower makes the P-38 the perfect warbird for long distance due to its ability to fly higher and faster than other fighters built around the same time. Between 1941 and 1945, more than 10,000 aircraft were produced. Today, the P-38 is a very rare model and appears to be priceless. It comes as no surprise that no efforts and cost were spared to save and restore those treasures. On July 31st, 1944, famous author and pilot Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, nicknamed the Little Prince, set off in Corsica for an expedition to the south of France in his Lockheed P-38, from which he never returned. The story surrounding the disappearance of the most famous author is still being explored today. However, the discovery of pieces of the aircraft suggests that the plane was shot down on that day. An incident in 1942 paved the way for the discovery of one of the last remaining Lightning planes. In July 1942, a P-38 fleet set off from United States to England. However, due to the bad weather condition, 6 of the pilots had to turn around before they reached Iceland and make a forced landing on the icy island of Greenland. 5 of the airplanes are now covered in a 100-meter thick layer of ice. In 1992, one of the aircraft was rescued. Today, it is known as the Glacier Girl and operates in the United States. Four-tailed Devil. The pilot in a new American fighter, the P-38 Lightning, peeled down from the skies over Iceland on August 14, 1942. True to its name, the P-38 was akin to a force of nature, fast, unforeseen, and immensely powerful. The aircraft's target was a German Focke-Wulf FW-200 Coder patrol bomber. Its crew had never encountered anything quite like it before. With its distinctive design, the P-38 was a sleek, but its twin tail gives the Lightning a radical new look. The pilot, pumping 409 rounds per minute from its nose-mounted machine guns, dispatched the Coder in seconds, marking the first successful American engagement of German aircraft during World War II. Within 6 months, as the P-38 showed its versatility in North Africa, a lone historical German pilot surrendered to soldiers at an Allied camp near Tunisia, pointing up to the sky and repeating one phrase, "Der Gabeltons Teufel," over and over. Once the phrase was translated, US officials realized the focus of the pilot's madness. The P-38 had been given a new nickname, the Four-tailed Devil. Engine and top speed. When first introduced in 1939, the Lightning was able to fly a steady course at 413 miles per hour, making it the fastest production airplane in the world, and it remained one of the fastest climbers right up to the end of World War II. It wasn't as fast as Messerschmitt Me-209, which was able to attain a record of 469 miles per hour, but this record-setting machine was built for a purpose of promoting the Messerschmitt Bf-109, and only 4 aircraft were built. Lockheed's chief engineer Hal Hibbard and the then young Clarence Kelly Johnson and their design team would come up with one of the boldest departures from traditional American fighter development. Hibbard realized that there wasn't an engine in the world that will meet all of the specifications for speed, range, climb, firepower, and other specifications. What they needed were two engines. Hibbard looked at the new Allison V1710 engine, which has been tested to deliver 1,000 horsepower for 150 hours. Their airplane would require two of these engines, and the aircraft design was narrowed down to 6 selections. The Lightning was a complete break from conventional airframe design, power, and armament. It had twice the power and was almost twice the size of its predecessors. Weaponry. Part of the specification also called for the fighter to be substantially armed, and the P-38 was structurally fitted with a base armament of 1 by 37mm cannon, later downgraded to a 20mm caliber, and a battery of 4 by 12.7mm Browning machine guns, all mounted in the nose. The twin-boom arrangement of the aircraft meant that the nose offered an unfettered vantage point for the pilot, so placement of all armament in a single fitting was a logical choice. All said, the revolutionary Lightning was a heavy machine categorized as a fighter but achieving the same weight class as lighter bombing platform of her time. Not as maneuverable as the Japanese fighter, the Lockheed P-38 Lightning used to dive and zoom tactics, and their formidable centerline firepower of 4.50-inch machine guns and a single 20mm cannon to gain victories. It gave its pilots confidence on the daily long-distance flights over water, for if one engine was lost to a combat or accident, the Lightning was able to limp home on the other. Why was the Lightning different from others? The most distinguished feature of the P-38 was its potted fuselage and unusual twin-boom tail assembly. Initially an innovative approach to the original Air Corps twin-engine interceptor specification, it later would prove ideal for the long, over-water flights required in the Pacific theater. Operating in all major theater, the design was highly flexible. The P-38 was adapted to photo reconnaissance, fighter bomber, and night fighter roles and excelled at each. As a fighter, the P-38 armaments typically consisted of 4.50 caliber machine guns and a 20mm cannon. Things you didn't know about P-38 Lockheed Lightning. The P-38 was the first fighter to fly faster than 400 miles per hour, and it was the only American fighter aircraft in production throughout the entire American involvement in World War II. The P-38 was exceptionally quiet for a fighter, due to its exhaust being muffled by turbo superchargers. The aircraft used nose-mounted guns unlike most other US fighters. This meant the P-38 had a better usable gun range than other aircraft whose wing-mounted guns had crisscross trajectories. The P-38's guns were so effective, they could reliably hit target up to 1,000 yards. Most other fighters were only effective at 100 to 250 yards. The P-38 was the primary long-range fighter for the US Army Air Forces until the P-51D entered the war. The engines rotated outward from the cockpit. This made the platform more stable for shooting guns. However, if the pilot lost an engine, the operating engine was so powerful that it could uncontrollably roll the aircraft inverted. The only P-38 in Europe and one of the only ones that are still being used is owned by the Flying Bulls and can be found in Hangar 7 in Salzburg. It is one of the most treasured exhibition pieces and brightens the entire hangar with its perfectly polished skin. More than 4 years had to pass until the perfectly restored P-38 was finally shipped from the United States to Hamburg in one piece. It was moved into Hangar 7, where it can still be admired today. The P-38 Lightning belonged to the vintage era of American military history, when America's military excellence was displayed on the world stage for all to see. Once a fearsome symbol of the USA's military might, the P-38 today is an invaluable addition to any collection. That's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like and share this video with your friends. Cheers!